Hello.
What is going on, guys? It's Triple G here, back with another Borderlands 3 video, and today I'm extremely excited to show you the 4th skill tree build, Shoulder of Fortune from ZANE. This thing is absolutely incredible now, and there are no real words to describe it. Guys, if you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week. Otherwise, let's get straight into this amazing video. So first of all, let's go through this skill trees. So one of the things about having 4 skill trees is that you are going to be faced with some number of choices about what you can and what you can't do. Luckily for ZANE, you are going to get extra points on ZANE where you wouldn't on any other class because of one particular skill. So let's start off with that skill and that skill tree. So this is the new skill tree. This is the professional. If you want a full and detailed breakdown of every individual skill, please refer to my breakdown video. However, this one I'm going to just go over the skills that we have here in place. So first of all, we're going to put 5 points into Deja Vu. This is going to add ammunition on critical hits, which although is a decent skill, we just needed some points to get down to the tree. So this is what we've done. And a single point here in Mana Focus, which gives us some accuracy and handling for 10 stacks. Next up, we have Headsman's Hand, which is a kill skill and will increase the critical hit damage, which is really nice. And obviously, with Seeing Dead, that's going to be buffed as well. We're going to have 1 point into Tunnel Vision, which will give ZANE accuracy and handling while moving. And as you know, with ZANE, we do that a lot. And then we come to the most powerful skill for ZANE in the history of ZANE. This is the skill Commitment. This is a kill skill. ZANE gains increased gun damage and action skill cooldown rate. Now, if you even forgot about the cooldown rate in itself, which is pretty powerful, and the fact that the gun damage in this is also pretty powerful at 30%, what you now have to realize is with Seeing Dead, this actually stacks. I have seen 80 stacks of this on your kill skills. 30 stacks is 900% damage, guys. 30 stacks is 900% damage. This thing's incredible. So what this means is this changes the way that builds for ZANE are going to be focused going forward. You're going to use this skill and not need to pick up any gun damage in the rest of the skill tree. I'll get into that in a little while. So we're going to pick up the augment cold shoulder here. This will convert Zane's shoulder cannon to cryo and give us a bit of additional freeze rate. I actually really enjoy this one. It is nice to completely immobilize enemies, so that's what we've gone for there. 1 point into fugitive, because why wouldn't you want to sprint and shoot at the same time? And then we're going to put 3 points into domino effect. So whenever Zane scores a critical hit, he gains increased fire rate and reload speed for a short time. If he scores a critical hit with his action skill, this effect is doubled. So we already have really nice fire rate, but a few points in here help us get down to the tree. And then we're going to put 3 points into Erasure here. Zane's critical hits pierce through enemies for all weapons, dealing increased damage up to 120%. So if you all are accurate, you're going to get bonus damage by just hitting critical hits there. And the final thing is proliferation. Zane's shoulder cannon gains increased additional charges and deals increased damage based on the number of charges. Now, one thing about this build and Zane's shoulder cannon in general is that the shoulder cannon will come back so fast, you're never ever going to really feel like you've got none left. So you're always going to be topped up with 3 or 4 charges at a minimum. Most of the time you'll have 5. I only really fire the shoulder cannon between magazines, ensuring that I have the anointment, which we'll speak about later. But you definitely are going to love this skill. It is really good. As we move on to the blue tree, you'll notice a few changes from traditional builds as we go through, but for now we have 5 points into violent speed and 5 points into violent momentum, a point into salvation, 3 into cool hand, 1 into death follows close, a full 5 into violent violence, and again 5 into plain dirty, 1 into good misfortune, and 1 into seeing red. Now you don't need me to explain all of these benefits, however most of these are kill skills, and therefore with seeing dead we're going to have these up all the time for increased damage, action skill cooldown rate, instant kill skills when we use seeing red as well. Onto the red tree, and this is where you will see the most dramatic change. We are not going to be using synchronicity, and we are not going to be using Donnybrook. Both of these skills apply gun damage, and gun damage is something that we do not need. We already are going to be rocking over 900% damage most of the time anyway, so we won't need to add points into here, and those points can be used in just better places. We're going to put 3 points into here to give us magazine size. These are nice to haves. You could put them anywhere else if you wanted. I really like magazine size. It's the only time Zane is vulnerable is when he's reloading. Onto the green tree, and a little bit more changes here. We're going to put 5 points in ready for action. We don't need max shields, and we certainly don't need cooldown because we're getting that from our new purple tree. We're going to put 5 points into brain freeze. It's a skill of mine that I really do like, and it will also enable us to get our augments here. We're going to go with nanites and some shite and all-rounder as well. We're going to be rocking barrier pretty much all the time, which is going to synergize perfectly with our gear. So talking of gear then, what we're going to be using here in the mainstay is the redistributor. Now a big change with this build and change with Zane going forward is you're actually not going to want consecutive hits or sentinel cryo most of the time. So next 2 mags is going to be where it's at for Zane and where it's at for most of the builds you see for Zane going forward. Now it's really good on the redistributor because you can now element mix. And as well as that, you're going to element mix on your grenade. So for example, we'll be firing a radiation redistributor, getting next 2 mags all the time. So we have our cryo. And in addition to that, we also will have shock damage coming through for 10 seconds. We're going to be spamming our shoulder cannon so often that we are going to have ASCs all the time. So we're going to have that lovely element mix that just comes through all the time. In terms of this specific build, I have gone with a frozen heart. There is a reason for that. Now the frozen heart is obviously a very good shield, and it freezes enemies all the time. We obviously do additional cryo damage, and with the icebreaker victory rush that I have here, we're going to do even more damage to people that are frozen, and we're going to freeze people all the time. Our shoulder cannon can freeze people instantly. We have brain freeze as well, which will be freezing people, and we have the frozen heart, which will be freezing people. So you get the synergies of the build here. We're going to be looking for all that cryo damage and using our icebreaker victory rush to just build on that damage. No shocks here that we're going to be using the Seeing Dead, which is giving us those commitment buffs, which is also giving us a little bit of Donnybrook, although we actually don't need it. I would expect to see in the future some Seeing Dead's actually running just with no Donnybrook at all. In terms of some of the other weapons here, next 2 mags, as I said, will feature prominently. So we have a next 2 mags Reflux and a next 2 mags Monarch. Any mixer you want here, guys, it's going to be really, really good. In terms of alternatives, you could also run a next 2 mags Flipper, as well as a next 2 mags Backburner. Obviously, consecutive hits and stuff that builds gun damage isn't going to be what you want to do. So no Pearl here, guys, no consecutive hits. That's going to add gun damage, and it's diminishing returns because we already have near upwards of 1000% on our gun damage. So guys, that is it for the build video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise I'll catch you on the flip.